Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I'm Tiff and you join us today in Sandbanks, or Sandbanks Beach to be more specific. I said in the first video with the XK that we couldn't wait to get it on a road trip, and you join us now at the start of a 1,000-kilometre road trip all the way down to Land's End. Now Sandbanks is lovely if you're into homes, boats, property, paddleboarding. The average price of a home in Sandbanks is £1.4 million, so I think we're a bit of a way off of that. We're now about to go to our lunch stop at Langham Vineyard in Dorset, which is only about 20 miles away and should take us on some really nice roads, so off we go. So, fuel consumption update then. After 40 odd miles to Sandbanks and then another 10 odd miles on the way to Langham Vineyard, and we are averaging 24 miles to the gallon, which I would say isn't so bad when we've also been hoofing it, and every time I go through a tunnel I have to put my foot down, but yeah, not bad. We bought ourselves a little treat seeing as we're at a vineyard that I share a name with, and apparently we accidentally put them on high alert because whoever owns the Langham Wine Estate is also called Chris Langham. So everybody was on guard duty just in case the owner turned up for some lunch. So, thoroughly lovely lunch completed at the Langham Wine Estate, and we are now on our way to the Isle of Portland. We're going all the way down to the bottom, and that should be about an hour's time. Currently on 23.4 miles to the gallon, and I have been hoofing it a little bit because the car does sound good. Here we go. Just arriving in Weymouth with some lovely houses up ahead in the end of the harbour, and we're about 4.5–5 miles out from Portland. Not far to go. One solitary chill seal. Solitary chill seal and a very loud lighthouse. So we're all the way down at the base of the Isle of Portland now, and the fog is well and truly rolling in. We're now all on our way up to West Bay, which is only 24 miles away.
And we're in a cloud.
Yeah. With one lighthouse that seems to be evading the cloud, and one that's in it. Very cool. Yeah, we are descending into a fog bank, or just very low cloud. So we're arriving in West Bay now, and after hooning on some fun roads and putting the foot down, MPG is down, oh not down too bad, 21.6 after 110 miles. And now at the top of the West Bay Beach Hill, which is a bit of a trek, but it gives you this amazing view. There we are. So it's the end of day one. We're arriving towards Dillington House. It appears to be a sort of wedding venue slash hotel, sort of in the middle of nowhere. It didn't really appear to be next to anything, but it looked really good when we found it online.
Oh, bunnies!
Most importantly, rabbits.
Oh.
So we've made it to Dillington Hall, our first stop, and you'll join the action again in the morning. So you join us next morning outside Dillington House, and today's route will take us all the way down to Plymouth via a few other stops. I think we should be going about 150 odd miles in total. And leaving here, the roads were great on the way in the dark, but in the daylight it should be even better. Black leather, white piping, technical weave, aluminium, apples. Start of day two, and we're heading down to Lyme Regis Beach. It's only another 20 miles. Fuel consumption wise, we're just above 20. I've done a lot of moving the car around to get some pictures in front of the house, but really not bad going, and we are going to need to fill up. We've used about half a tank to do 130 odd miles. Now driving through Ilminster. Very nice. Back into the 60 limit. We've arrived in Lyme Regis. Well, we started with 3/4 of a tank, and we've managed to make it 160 miles before we need to fill up at 19.6 miles to the gallon. Not marvellous, but not bad at all. For 60 litres, £105. So we've left Lyme Regis, we're now on our way down to Dartmouth, and finally we have some more nice twisty roads. So we're just leaving Dartmouth now, and absolutely lovely.
I love bunting.
Well, you're in luck. So you join us on day 3 in Plymouth, in front of Drake's Island, which was sold in the late 90s for about £400,000. The guy who bought it wanted to put a hotel on it, never got planning permission, and it's just remained as it was in World War II, just a fortified island in the mouth of the harbour. So as we're leaving Plymouth just now, day 3, Plymouth Gin has been purchased, and it's time for a cold start in an underground car park. Now on our way to Looe, Polperro, Charlestown, and hopefully ending up the day in, or rather on, the Lizard. Just coming up to the Tamar Bridge, for which we have to pay a £2 toll for the privilege of using. Looks like we're about to turn off onto nicer, freer road. Should be able to give it the beans. Yes, we can. Lovely. It's a little bit greasy, so I'm being a bit cautious. Another caravan. And there it is. So we're arriving in Looe. It's definitely prettier at high tide. We're now going to drive the incredible 4 and a bit miles from Looe to Polperro, and as we're leaving, some XKR friends by the look of it. Very nice. XK 150. So the short drive from Looe to Polperro actually got some quite fun roads on it. Very tight road into Polperro. Some very nice scenery ahead of us. So, as anybody who cares about their car will know, the way to idiot-proof your parking, park on your own as far away from possible as the thing that you want to get to. Inevitably, when I come back, a Peugeot 106 will have parked in my arse. So Polperro is definitely our favourite stop so far today. Absolutely gorgeous. Right, penultimate leg of day 3. We are heading from Polperro, which was absolutely lovely, all the way over to Charlestown. It's only 20 miles, but because we have to go back up some actually quite nice twisty roads, we're going to be about 3/4 of an hour, we think. And MPG wise, we are doing ever decreasing because we keep on hoofing it on the country lanes. A little bit less than 20, but not bad at all. So the road immediately out of Polperro is rather nice. Drop it a few gears. Nice. Here we go again. Made it to Charlestown. Anyway, we're on the way to Pillerion-on-the-Lizard from Charlestown, and we've got a lovely winding national speed limit road. A little bit dark, but we're now arriving at Pillerion-on-the-Lizard, which includes this view. Very nice. That's absolutely lovely. Mm-hmm. Not a bad wedding present. So we're parked up at Pillerion-on-the-Lizard now, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Sunset over the sea. Morning at Pillerion-on-the-Lizard. So we're on our way from Pillerion-on-the-Lizard to Lizard Point. The roads were previously a bit slower and people didn't seem to know what they're doing, but now it's opened up for the couple of the miles leading up to the point. We should have some spectacular views at the end. now arriving at the Lizard with the lighthouse. There is a horrific single track road that I would fully not recommend anybody uses, in fact. It's just not big enough at all. Horrible. Yeah, don't do what we did and come down here. Walk. So we're now at Lizard Point. Honestly, the most horrific single track road to get up here. Not very comfortable in a slightly wider than normal car. But now we're here. The views are amazing. Lovely old lighthouse as well. On we go. So all the way down the bottom now. Basically just been told off by the National Trust people coming down here, and then post telling off they said, but you can do it. So I did. Although there is a sheer drop just here. Plan now is to go from the Lizard all the way to Porthcurno, which is right next to Land's End. Well, Katia is making me walk down some coastal path in Porthcurno, which I'm actually kind of glad about because, no, there is no way I would be packed onto that beach. It cannot be that good that you're willing to sacrifice your personal space. Anyway, but we're going along this path to find an open-air theatre. To ascend what appears to be the black staircase from The Lord of the Rings. Being slightly sarcastic because I'm actually enjoying myself and the view is tremendous when you're looking at it and not down there. About 3 seconds ago I made the Lord of the Rings staircase video, but it actually does feel like that now. Mismatched and very difficult steps up to the theatre. I wouldn't normally film inside the hotel room, but you've got all your normal things, coffee machine, kettle, and then you've got this view of Land's End, looking directly at the Longships Lighthouse on Carnbrass, which there was one there prior to 1800, and then it had to be rebuilt about 80 years later, and it's only been demanned in the last sort of 40 years, but that's your view. Spectacular. Well, we made it. Over there, it's the Isles of Scilly. Well, apologies for the wind noise if there is any, but you join us the next morning at Land's End. And, possibly the best car park this car's ever going to be in. Penultimate day of the holiday then. We're going to be leaving Land's End now and going to St Michael's Mount. All the way from Land's End to St Michael's Mount we have managed in 380 miles to average just over 19 miles to the gallon, and we'll probably need to fill up again today. Hey ho. That's what we want to be. The known world. And the Screech Owl Sanctuary. Great name. Filled up with another tenner in Padstow to get us out of the town, but now I've found premium. Yeah. Yeah, with another £100 of petrol, we should be able to go another 300 miles. This is one of the best road trip cars, but it is not one of the most economical road trip cars, unfortunately. So I think what is ahead of us is a Beetle rat rod, although I can't yet see what engine he's got in the back. Oh, something air-cooled by the look of it. The big central exhaust, that's amazing. It's a Baja. First of two legs on our last day. We're going all the way from a place just outside of Plymouth called Totnes, going all the way up to Corfe Castle eastbound, which is 2.5 hours, even though it's only going to be, well, that says 104 miles, so not going to be the fastest apparently. And then fuel consumption wise, for the start of our last day, after 520 odd miles, we've averaged 20 miles to the gallon. That's with a mix of fun driving and sitting on motorways. Not too bad, I'd say. 250 miles range, we should be able to get home on this tank.
Yay!
Yay. Oh, and a Galanderwagen convertible thing. That's cool. Recording?
Uh-huh.
Nice. Here I'm going. Well, that McLaren made the last phase of our trip in heavy traffic a bit more exciting than it would have otherwise been. The guy was quite nice actually, gave us a good thumbs up on the way before he then blatted away. Very much lost him in the traffic. So impressions of the XKRS then. First of all, that it's very thirsty. We were hoofing it along a lot of country lanes, but 20 miles to the gallon is not really ideal. Other than that, I can't really think of a better road trip car. It is supremely comfy, especially compared to the 124 Spider, which when we road trip there was just a lot of exhaust noise really. The noise that you get from the XK actually comes from tyre roar. The tyres are so big that, well, you can hear now, there is a lot of road noise. Other than that though, supremely comfy seats, great ride quality because of the long wheelbase, loads of boot space. That's something that the 124 misses entirely. But one thing the car was missing is definitely a good sat-nav system. So you'll see in some of the onboard videos, I've got my phone on the dashboard and I'm using that for sat-nav. But very soon we're going to have Apple CarPlay installed, so I'll do a video about that and hopefully show either a bit of the install or just talk about the issues behind putting CarPlay in a newer XK. So driving impressions then. First of all, there's just endless power. There's way more than you can use on the public road. and when it started to rain as we were leaving Plymouth, it did get actually a bit sketchy when you try and put your foot down. However, in the dry, it is supreme fun, it sounds great, and for overtaking little cars holding you up on country lanes, it's actually really, really handy. Now, when you get onto the twisty stuff, it turns out there is absolutely no disguising the fact that this car weighs almost 2 tons, 1,850 kilos at least, I think it is, plus fluids. It just feels very heavy. It manages it very well, and it's able to grip, put the power down, you don't run wide, there's no real understeer, the nose is actually very positive, I think just because there's so much weight from the engine over the front wheels, but there's no disguising it, it feels like a very big, heavy car. A limiting factor of the car is definitely the gearbox. You can feel it's a little bit slower than you want when you're manoeuvring in car parks, manoeuvring around town, especially at lower speeds. Once you're on throttle, the shifts are very quick, but if you are just manoeuvring around town, it is a little bit of a pain, and sometimes it's a little bit lurchy. Now, I think the gearbox gets way more flack than it deserves, because when it does shift, it is actually quite quick. It is just noticeable when you're really on it that sometimes it's a little bit slow to shift, especially on a downshift if it thinks that you're going to be too high in the rev range. So yes, I think the gearbox definitely gets a worse rap than it deserves. It really does do quite a good job when mated to this engine. They've certainly done as much as they can with the gearbox that they have. I do find myself wanting a 7th gear, I have to say, when you're cruising and it's sitting at about 2,000 RPM at around 70 miles an hour. It feels like there's room for another gear. You feel like you want to click up and get better economy for one, but also just to make it a little bit quieter. It needs like an overdrive, basically. So in conclusion then, a really good car to go on a road trip in. I hope you guys enjoyed watching that as much as we enjoyed the journey. There'll be plenty more coming soon, hopefully fitting CarPlay to the car, and maybe a track day soon if we're lucky. Do subscribe to see that when it goes live, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Ciao!